TC, I wanted to ask you something. Now that your career is over and you know what it's like to be literally a Strikeforce Challengers guy, not get paid much early on, and make your way through these different organizations, these belts, finally to the UFC, a champ, and you saw all that. Could someone like you, I've always been curious, go to Dana, because you have a great relationship with the UFC, a great relationship with Dana White, and just sit there and go, hey, it's time. You need to give us five $50,000 bonuses. The roster needs it. These fighters can benefit. I don't know, just something like fighting for the guys, the same way Joe and Randy and BJ and those guys early on fought for you guys that make millions now.
Well, I think it's like it's been unspoken, right? Like, I believe that everybody started to make more money when Conor McGregor came, like, because Conor started making so much more. So I think as the sport grows, and stars like guys like myself and Conor and Jones and Khabib and all those Miocic are making seven figures, and not only $1 million. Before it was like, if you can make $1 million, man, you were doing so well in MMA. But now guys are making millions upon millions of dollars, and I believe that as the sport continues to grow and the stars continue to break through the glass ceiling, the base pay will continue to raise. Now, ultimately, it's on the athlete, right? Everybody wants to. I always tell people this, and I don't know if it comes off as if I'm a guy that loves the UFC, and I don't know why I wouldn't. I've made a ton of money in my career, but I think it when guys become draws and they become stars and they become champion, they are paid, right? So it's a matter of getting to where you are supposed to be athletically, and then all that other stuff takes.
Still with us?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right. I wasn't in any way suggesting, by the way, a union or an association, because that's obviously a whole other topic. I was just thinking something that someone with the influence like yourself could do. Look, Cejudo, Khabib, Silva, they just retired. Maybe Cejudo, I could see him walking in the door or whatever. I don't know about Khabib and I don't know about Silva. But I'm just wondering if you guys, rather than look at the whole association union thing, maybe just one little step. Maybe that second cornerman gets his travel paid. Usually I think it's just you and a cornerman, and then you out of your own pocket. Especially the international traveler guys have to pay out of their own pocket.
Yeah.
Just one little W where you can now say, hey, look, this is what I helped to contribute. And I wouldn't ask this for just anybody. I only ask this these guys that are super influential. That's why the question comes to you, and not like maybe, we're going to have Sam Alvey on the show later. I wouldn't ask him that.
He keeps getting a call. Or
I know this guy keeps calling me, but I'm not answering. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
we just can't see you now.
No, so here's my thing, right? Like, this is my deal, right? And I don't know why the camera went off. I don't know how to use this program you guys use. I'm very uncanny. I am not savvy when it comes to like anything that needs thinking. But here's what I'm saying, right? The Cornerman situation. I understand what you're saying, George. I do believe that there comes a time where maybe you do take care of this other guy, right? But there are instances in which I feel like, and I don't know, maybe it's like maybe it's too much like corporation, but I feel like if you and go to do something, right, and MMA Junkie pays for it because you guys are so valuable to the company, right? You bring the viewers, you bring the listeners. People watch because of that. I've always watched the show because of you two. I didn't watch the show for everybody else. I've always watched your show for you. I've always watched Ariel's show for Ariel. I know the guys that do the shows, right? So when they fly you guys there, wherever whatever you're doing, it's because you bring value, right? Those younger guys, they have a cornerman and themselves, and they pay for that. But then as the guys go older and they grow in their career, it's hard for a guy to say, hey, I need more whenever, you're not necessarily bringing back all that much in business. But like Justin Gaethje, right? Justin Gaethje was headlining Abu Dhabi, Fight Island. Just ask Dana, hey, my parents have never been. Can they fly on the charter with us? Sure, whatever. It takes his whole family, right? But again, Justin Gaethje is bringing eyes to that fight. So, I mean, it's almost like as you add value, you have more things come your way. And I'm being honest, man. It's like I think that's how it is in most business. Most businesses this way. So I just don't see many guys stepping outside of themselves to do that as we go forward.
Okay. How does retirement feel so far to you? Is it fulfilling in the sense that this is what you wanted and you could see yourself doing this for the next 5 years? And in no way am I implying a comeback or nothing like that.
No.
You already see that you're going to have to announce a lot or coach a lot. Like, is it exactly how you want, the perfect balance of coaching, announcing, and being a father? And
You know what's crazy, George, is like in 2018, I fought 3 times, right? I fought a lot. 19, I only fought 1 time. 2020, I only fought 1 time. So it's not like I was very active. So all that time away from the octagon, I was essentially just living the life that I'm living today, right? Like working TV and doing all my outside jobs just to continue to build my future. I wasn't really fighting very often anymore. So it's not like it's much different. The only thing is now I have that finality to it, right? I know that I'm not going to be fighting again, and I've accepted that. So it's not much difference, honestly, but it's just knowing that there is no more training camps coming up. But you know what, though? With that being said, it's also sad. Like the other day, one of my friends, Shane, he's from Tree Crew. I'm sure you guys have seen him my whole career. They sponsored me in the Octagon before, and we just all became great friends. He came to the house the other day and dropped off an Xbox Series X for my son's birthday, or for my son's Christmas. Well, we were just kind of sitting in the garage talking, and it was like, the clips come up of us in training camp and us doing these things, and it does make you miss it. But that's the only difference now opposed to what I was doing the last couple of years.
Hey, DC, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you like George and I?
I like you guys a ton. I think you guys have been so nice to me from the very start of my career. We've had some great fun times, I think you guys are great. I like you guys a lot. I like you guys about a 7, 8, way up there. That's about as high. Hey, listen, that's about as much as I like my wife. So you're way up there. So serious here and there. That's serious rarefied air.
Goes, is your ego struggling or what? What kind of a question was that, Goes?
Well, no, because I wanted to make sure that he wouldn't kill me when I asked him, hey, can you just back out and come back and have your camera?
Okay, I will. I'll do that. All
right.
Look at this. That is, can I rest it here? I think so.
Yeah.
This is a Daniel Cormier bobblehead.
Oh, it's nice. It's nice. Look at that.
Yeah. It debuted a few weeks ago. MMAbobblehead.com is where you can get yours. And get this, since we're getting close to Christmas, they also have the ornaments for your tree.
I never would have thought that I would have any of this stuff.
You think Jon Jones is going to have one on his Christmas tree?
Of me? Yeah, he should. Look at that nice shirt you're wearing, George. This is why I love you guys so much. You kick back to the old DC Cage Fighter shirt, man.
You noticed that because the mic was blocking it. Good job.
This whole journey, man, you guys have been so supportive, and I really do appreciate it. I really, really do.
Comes in this awesome box right here. The box is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Oh.
That was after Airdyne workout. I was just finishing working out, and Brian, I Am the Bay, took a picture. Or maybe it was Lazy the Savage. One of those guys took a photo, and it just turned out to be a fantastic picture. Fatigued.
menacing look, sweat's pouring off. You look like you mean business. Awesome, man. Yeah, MMA Bobblehead just came out with that. You've gotten yours already? You got them at home? Do your relatives have any? Or
yeah, they sent me some at the house. I just have to pick them up, and they're at the post office. I have to go get them. I was gone for the last 3 weeks, so I'm finally home now. I can start to get things done and get my life in order.
Yeah. My box is signed, but I want my bobblehead signed. So hopefully we see you in Vegas. When's your next announcing gig?
I work on the 21st. I work next week. I work the show on the I think it's the 21st, right? When Davidson Figueiredo fights against Alex Perez. I worked that one. And yeah, it's a good one. I'm excited about that fight.
Two champions.
Davidson Figueiredo, the type of power this kid generates at 125 pounds is insane. And Alex Perez has shown over time that he's just improved to be such a dangerous, complete mixed martial artist. I mean, he finished his last fight with leg kicks. I mean, this fight is going to be insane. It's great to have those types of fights at 125 pounds because for a long time, DJ was so dominant, right? People kind of started to tune out the weight class. But the reality is it's a fantastic weight class.
By the way, I wanted to go back to something too. All this talk about, you going to Dana White on behalf of the fighters, it came from yesterday when we were talking to Max Griffin. Mm-hmm. And this guy, that ear that came off his opponent the other day, that was a world star. Steve-O was saying, you should have got a bonus, and I've been thinking about this for a while, why the UFC, when the UFC will maybe get to that fifth bonus. I've also thought about like the Cornerman thing, and then some of the retired fighters like Mark Coleman, seeing what he's going through, and I'm like wondering when will they be like the NFL and get to the sort of a
No, I understand. Like I understand all this stuff makes a ton of sense. I have to believe that for that kid with the ear, there will be help. I mean, the UFC will help him to try to help him get back healthy. And honestly, even though the backside bonuses aren't as prominent as they once were, I'm sure that they'll get something kicked in their direction. There was a kid that fought at Fight Island just recently, and it was as much of a performance bonus earning victory that I had seen, but the fight card was so good that I'm sure going back he'll get a bonus, right? Like it was almost unspoken. They had talked in the back with the boss and them, and I'll take care of you, and that's pretty much all you can get. But the UFC does a lot of things that are not known to the general public. And I'm not just saying all this because I work for the UFC. I'm telling you this because I've seen it happen. I've seen them do things. Look, so many times we have our superstars and athletes, and they do these special things for their communities, but then they post it on the internet. That doesn't mean that other people aren't doing things. I mean, every year, my family and I, we try to do stuff in the community for Christmas. And kids less fortunate. I don't post it, though, because it's not for that. It's for those kids. You don't need to make it public. But I think the UFC does a lot of those things, too. I remember when the whole Bellator thing came and Scott was paying guys because the fight got canceled. That's fantastic. And I told this to Bob Cook, and Bob goes, the UFC has been doing this for years. But they just don't, it's not public. So I think that a lot of these things are done behind closed doors and not really made into a big deal.
Daniel, I wanted to ask you a question. I just want to tie in a couple things that are going on in the world today to what's going on with you. And I started thinking, obviously a lot of people have been tuning into this presidential election. And at one point I started thinking, man, what if this happened, but in the UFC? Where they said, all right, Dana, your term's up. We got to come up with somebody new. Who would you pick to run for that office? And would you be that guy? Would you want a job like that?
Man, I speak to Dana, and the stress that this dude is under is so tremendous. Like, you don't understand. We were on Fight Island, and I go, what are you doing all day? He goes, DC, you have no idea what it takes to keep this thing going right now. The stress of this job is so heavy that I don't know who could do the job outside of him. I mean, honestly, Scott Coker, the job that he has to do is so difficult. He has a Mike Kogan in his life to help him. Like Hunter helps Dana. Like, it's such a hard job that I don't know who could do these jobs outside of the men that are doing them right now. So I don't know who I would pick. I don't know who would be next. I don't know who could handle the stress of trying to run the UFC or Bellator for that matter. These are some of the hardest jobs in the world. So when guys sign up to be the president, you got to be out of your freaking mind. Who wants to be the president? Like, it's so hard. It's such a hard job. You want to be the president. That's what you want to do with your life. Like, it's crazy.
Well, you were the first name I thought of. I think you would be really good at it. You sure you wouldn't do that one day?
No,
if that's presented to you.
It's like such a hard job. It's such a hard job. And I just hope that Dana's doing it for a long time. Now, obviously, I think anyone would ever have an opportunity to do something like that, they would be an idiot not to try. But it's not guaranteed that even if you were to get a job like that, you're going to succeed. I mean, Roger Goodell and freaking Adam Silver. Like those guys those are hard jobs, especially now in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah, and then another thing I wanted to ask you with something that kind of just went on not too long ago, yesterday, was the 1 year anniversary of not the 1 year anniversary, the anniversary of UFC 1. And I thought about you today, this morning. I was thinking, do you remember one of your first interviews with us? You even told us, like, man, Bob Cook told me not even to throw a kick, right? Your skill set was still kind of limited. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like even that limited Daniel Cormier with your college wrestling experience and all that, could you have won UFC 1?
I don't know if I could have won it because I think Royce Gracie was in UFC 1, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was like submitting everybody, but I think you saw guys like myself and Kevin Randleman and Mark Coleman and those guys that didn't have the striking. They were able to take guys down, ground them out, and win fights. So I think I would have did okay. I'm not going to sit here and say I was going to beat Royce Gracie or anybody at that point. Like, you just would have did okay because you had that background. Because we've seen guys, like one of my coaches, Kevin Jackson, Olympic champion, he fought and he got submitted, right? So you could have done well and gotten as far as you needed to go without absolutely being the best. Because I think KJ got to he might have won a tournament and then he fought Frank for the belt and got submitted in 20 seconds. So you got to have a rounded out. Your skill set had to start coming around even back then in order to be successful at the highest level.
Yeah, I don't think you're giving yourself enough credit here. Might have been able to
situation. There's a fucking pigeon in the house, and I can't get rid of him.
I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. I kept the camera on him the whole time. You were gone. I'm
here. Bouncing in the walls. I can't get him out of here.
There's a pigeon in the house.
A pigeon's in the house.
Holy shit!
I'd be shitting my pants.
I don't know I don't want him to shit in our house.
I'm so scared of birds.
Goes, I'll talk to DC. Come get rid of this guy. He's freaking me out. He's flying everywhere.
What am I, the pigeon whisperer? Why am I the guy? All right, talk to DC.
That's hilarious.
All right, DC, I got a question for you. I'm a little out of breath. I've been chasing this motherfucker around. Hey, DC, what do you think of swagger jackers on fight night? You know what I mean, or should I explain it?
I don't know what that means exactly.
So, like Glover wins or Jon wins, all the ones that have been winning main events. And then the superstars, like yourself, and I'm not saying you're one, but there's a lot of superstar fighters that are out there that throw in that congratulations, but only to get in the door and like me, like a little bit of sometimes Jon, Connor. Sometimes it can be so gracious. You see it? Yeah, there's a fucking pigeon in here. Sometimes it can be so gracious, but then other times I feel like they just take that shine away from the guy that just competed. And I think it's awesome when the superstars like yourself and Jon and Connor and everybody else chime in and go, hey, way to go, enjoy retirement, you're the man, this and that, but not inject themselves into the conversation on fight night.
Also, when I did this for Anderson recently. I said, listen, man, getting to fight you was one of the greatest nights of my life. I remember watching you at UFC 101. That was the first time I've ever fought or been there. It was tremendous, but I just wanted to congratulate him, and I try to congratulate these athletes on their big performances. I think sometimes, we as athletes, we all have egos, right? We all have massive egos, and active competitors, they don't like the spotlight to stray too far away from them. And I think that's why you get that at times.
I feel like sometimes it's a great opportunity to promote yourself because all the eyeballs are on the sport. I get that part. And I get that sometimes it makes sense, like especially like let's say if I'm going to fight Jon or I want to fight Jon and I'm making noise that night. But at the same time, I don't know, like you guys are such a great fraternity, at times. And then I think when there's time to compete, you build up a rivalry and it can get heated and all. But it seems like on a fight night when everyone's just at home chilling, I'd like to see.
Give the guys time. Give the guys time. Let the guys have their moment. Because guess what, George? We have been blessed with so many. Like, we've been blessed with so many moments. Like, moments that people are just hoping to have one, right? We've had a ton of them. And those moments will continue because we're on TV every day and you don't go away, right? Your legacy always stays behind. And I think that the guys that you talk about, we need to really sometimes take a step to the side and understand that it can be about the other guy for one night. It doesn't have to be about him the whole time, but give him his time, especially when they have performances like that. I think the biggest case of that recently was when Khabib was the man, and then Jones just kind of lost his mind. Like, it wasn't about him, so he lost his mind. Like, it's okay if this guy just had such a great performance under the circumstances, lost his father. Now everybody's like, yo, this guy's the best. Okay. For years, people have been saying you're the best, right? It should not offend you to the point that you feel like you have to go on this tangent to answer. I mean, he pretty much answered every single tweet that was sent to him. Like, how do you answer every tweet sent to you when you have that many followers? So I just think sometimes you got to let go of the ego and realize that, read the room, pick your time, and do those things in those moments that are necessary.
Do you like having the mic drop moment yourself, or do you like it when your army comes and says it on your behalf and you can just kind of chill and just, let them speak about how great you are, which is usually what the media and fans do in other sports anyway. But I know some people like to do their own brawling.
Well, I don't mind arguing with people sometimes. I think that happened as I got later in my career. I was more open to addressing the bad, but then sadly, it's like you're responding to the people that say negative things, and then all the supporters, you're just kind of ignoring all the praise that they're heaping on you. So I think we need to really recognize what we have in front of us when we have all this support. But yeah, I prefer my fans and my friends and everybody to fight for me, because you do the battling inside the octagon. They do all that stuff for you outside. Fellas, my daughter's starting to wake up.
Okay.
It's almost time for me.
Yeah, no, I get it. Go. You good, or he was battling a pigeon, but I don't know.
Are you done, DC, or you got one more?
I got one more. I'll do one more. My daughter's starting to wake up though, and she gets mad, boys. Let me tell you, that's the champion of the world. When Luna gets up and she starts screaming, she gets mad. That pigeon would be the least of your worries if my daughter gets going.
Shit, you want to see? I'm gonna battle the pigeon while I go.
I went down there. That pigeon scared the shit out of me, dude. Okay, so I just wanted to ask you this. There's a lot of pound for pound talk out there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we just talked about UFC 1 and how much the game has evolved. I think George is trying to give us a view. At this point, when you're talking about the greatest of all time, the pound for pound king, do they have to have competed in multiple weight classes?
Oh, look at George.
He's trying to kill the pigeon. You're supposed to shoot him, George. Do they have to have battled in multiple weight classes for them to even be considered at this point?
I think it helps. I think it helps whenever guys have fought multiple weight classes. But you know what, man? When guys are putting on dominant performance, as some of these guys have done in their weight classes, you really can't question anything they do. So I don't believe that it's necessary, but I do think it helps when you start talking about where you stand amongst the greats of all time, because a lot of the greatest fighters we've ever seen have fought in multiple weight classes. So
permit me one more.
Okay.
It'll be fast.
Okay.
All right. I don't know if you saw the footage yesterday, Hearns, Hagler, a lot of people posting that fight. There's a lot of these old rivals. Well, I think you got a call.
1 second. I'm sorry.
No worries. Give us a pigeon update, George.
Okay, go ahead.
The same window.
All right. So, okay, there was a lot of footage, Hagler, Hearns, all that. You see Leonard and Hagler, even Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier. At some point, they get together and they kind of just shake hands. They have a beer. We've seen that moment. And I've asked you this before. Things have changed, though. You've gotten older. You're retired now. You get that call from Jon Jones. Let's meet up, have a beer. Let's have dinner. What happens? Do you show up? Do you can shake the dude's hand and just kind of hang out and reminisce?
I don't know. I mean, that's not even something I've thought about. I think that the things that we have done and said to each other are so they're so nasty, and it's been with so much bad blood that I don't know if it can be just easily kind of washed away. I think that I don't know. I actually, the only time that I think about that is when you guys bring it up, because I never think about whether or not I'm going to be friends with Jones.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Sugar Ray Leonard went all the way to Panama and finally made made some peace with Roberto. Sugar Ray was more the one that had it mentally weigh on him, and he did it like 30 years after the fight. And I suggest you do it one-on-one in a public setting. If you bring, backup or others, I don't know.
Could I show you guys something? Could I show you guys what just showed up to my house?
Yeah.
Look.
Oh.
All right, we can't hold you up now.
All right.
Very cool. Thanks, DC, for the time, man. Enjoy your day.
Guys. All right. Bye-bye.